Welcome back to Winkler HQ. I'm Jason. I'm sitting here with Daniel Winkler. Today we're going to talk about a brand new addition to the knife line. It's called the 2025. It's new for this year. It's going to push out a blade show. We're going to talk about it, and then we're going to actually show you some of the production process that goes along with it. So let's get right into it. Daniel, tell me about this new knife that we got.
Well, for the past 3 years, starting in 2023, we've decided we're going to do one model that is just produced in that year. Just something kind of special, kind of unique, that has a limited lifespan as far as our production goes.
Sure.
So first year we did a smaller hunting knife, everyday carry. Then last year the 2024 was a hatchet, which was very successful. And this year, Karen and our operations manager, Jennifer Coffey, and graphic designer, and I got together and decided, let's do another knife this year, something very well suited to the outdoors market and hunting market. So we kind of got together and did some sketching and talked about it and kind of put together some of the features we liked in some of our past hunting models and our current Woodsman and Huntsman. There were some design features in both of those that were really appealing. So what we did is, utilizing all those features, is we came up with what we're calling the 2025. The special features on it we'll go over as we talk about the different aspects of how this knife is made.
Definitely a beast all of its own, isn't it? I mean, you can see the Huntsman over here, and if you get the finger, you got the thumb ramp, and then the finger drop and all that stuff, so you got good control over the blade, but the blade's a little short compared to the 2025. So it's a great combination of the two for people who love features from both.
I think it's going to be an outstanding performer. The small amount of testing I've done on the prototypes has done very well. And when we were prototyping this knife, we did the designs, the drawings, we made some 3D models, then cut some steel out, and I hand ground and handled them just to be sure the balance, the configuration, the comfort level was where we wanted it. And this knife has all of that. I'm really pleased with it. Kind of not sure we should have limited that to 1 year, because I think it's going to be really popular.
So once this is done and it's gone, there'll be no more.
There'll be no more of this one. It'll just be produced in groups in 2025, and the first one that we're releasing at the Blade Show, and we'll also have some at our store here in Boone, North Carolina, is an addition with olive wood handle, and then a special tribal pattern, which we'll get into more detail a little bit later.
All right, well, let's get right into it then. Let's talk about the blade preparation. So we're getting ready to make us a knife here. What do we go into with this?
Well, with all of our knives, we start off, we develop the design, we build the tooling necessary, we integrate cutting the knife, the handles, the sheath design, the programming that goes in some of our more CNC controlled equipment, and all of it integrates together. So they all come out together and everything fits and everything works out well. So as far as production goes, the first steps are going to be to cut out the handles and cut out the blade blanks. And we do that with equipment. Instead of using a bandsaw like I did, or a hammer and forge, we do it in a more controlled method now, and safer.
Yeah.
We use water jet on the blade blanks. We use CO2 laser on the handle materials, or synthetic handles. We use a CNC router. It produces quality parts that don't lose anything from modern technology. It only enhances both the performance and the safety aspects of the manufacturing this blade. So we'll go through the cutting out with the water jet on the blade blanks. We go through multiple steps in prepping and flattening the steel, getting it to the correct thickness before we go into our taper grinders, and then hand grinding to finish. Every blade we do is hand ground to finish, and profiling to keep the quality and the uniqueness of each piece there. So from once the blades are all prepped, we get into something, the heat treating aspect, which is really an important aspect of why our knives perform like they do.
It's huge, I imagine. And your knife is almost ready to go. I mean, it's almost ready to be done before you heat treat, isn't it? I mean, it's already ground down and everything.
We do that. We do 100% of our blade grinding prior to heat treat, which is kind of unique in the industry because it does create its own problems in blade warpage and some issues. It can, but I have found through testing that I get the best performance if I do all the grinding prior to heat treating. We get a much better hardness level at the cutting edge up to the spine where it needs a little more strength and flexibility by going ahead and prepping all the thicknesses and the tapers prior to the heat treatment.
You keep a lot more carbon in the blade like that too, right?
Well, that's true, because the heat treating method that we're using is a two-stage salt pot system, which by heating the steel in the high temperature pot, creating an oxygen-free atmosphere, we have zero carbon loss. And so we do really have very high performance by using this method. And one of these days, I want to do a video just on heat treating so we can get into more details on every aspect and why we do it the way we do.
So when you say carbon loss, I mean, you had to explain that to me. And for me to understand it, it's basically saying this knife, you can sharpen it a lot longer and it'll stay sharper a lot longer. So I can pass this knife down to my grandkids and they can still sharpen it up. You know, it's going to last for lifetimes, which is a big deal for the user.
It is a big deal. And like I say, we'll get into a lot more depth on why that does what it does in our more detailed video that'll come out soon. But right now, that's just like our other knives. We're using this two-stage salt pot system.
Awesome. So we've prepped the blade, we've heat treated it, it's all been ground out and everything. Now we're going to move into like the handling, right? And so putting a handle on is a whole beast in itself.
It is, and the way we're working with that is we have specialists in our shop here, and everybody that works here has a specialty that they are really good at, and that's what they primarily do. We do some cross training so we can avoid bottlenecks. So, but like a handler, he's going to do everything. When he gets his group of knives to work on, he's got every component to complete that knife on hand. The pins, the wood handles or synthetic handles, the blade blanks, everything is there. He'll prep the surface textures, glue the handles, pin them, and then go through all the hand shaping steps in stages. It's really set up very much like I always did as a custom maker, just in a much more efficient manner. Instead of making one piece start to finish, these guys specialize in the handlers in taking a tray of anywhere from maybe 8 to 24 pieces and do them in stages so their efficiency is better. But the quality is always better that way too, because they get really good at each operation. Yeah. So the handles are shaped and taken to their final dimensions, and then they go on through to the next phase. The next phase being finishing, right? I mean, we're going into the finishing. Right, so that's the finish on the blade and all that good stuff. That's true. And they have to go through multiple quality inspections during this process. But once it goes into the finishing, after the handling is complete, that's where we take and surface prep the blades with a bead blasting operation, turn the steel black with a black oxide solution, get that cleaned and prepped, and then the handles will be, some woods will be stained, some will just go into a beeswax wood finish, other synthetics go into a sealer. This olive wood that we're using on the 2025 goes through a beeswax wood finish, and then we put a special sealer on the blade that stops the action of the black oxide and protects the blade from further oxidation. Oh, wow. Okay. So you're saying while these blades are in process, each and every one of them are getting stopped and going through an inspection process, 4 different points of inspection for every single blade that comes out of the headquarters. Every single one goes through 4 specific inspection processes plus spot checks throughout the operation. So, and another thing each of our operators that work here at Winkler Knives are trained before they start their operation on their group of knives. They look at them and know if something wasn't done right. They do their own inspection and be sure they're sent back so it doesn't go into steps that need work for whatever reason. So we have everybody here is an inspector. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. But we have specific inspection stations to be sure that happens. Okay, so after the blade's finished, sometimes you got to prep the handle a little more, right? I mean, just when you're doing your engravings and stuff like that. Well, yeah, they then, after the blade finish is done, they go into the area where they get either the new tribal markings or any engraving, like the touch mark engraving. And those are done with CO2 lasers, or on the touch mark, if we're engraving the steel, we use a fiber laser.
Okay.
And so the tribal on the 2025 is a CO2 pattern. And I want to talk about that just a little bit, because in this one, we wanted to make it a little more special. So being the knife is called the 2025, if you look at the tribal pattern, it shows the Roman numerals for 2025, the M, X, and the V, which is in the Roman numerals 2025. So Jennifer, our operations manager and graphic artist, came up with this idea with Karen. Karen said that maybe we can do that. Jennifer pulled it off beautifully, I think.
She did.
And it makes for a very attractive tribal, adds grip to the handle, but it also has more meaning, especially for this knife.
I mean, it adds a lot of grip to it. I mean, you can really feel it there. It's nice.
It does. It takes what could be in a situation in a hunt or outdoors activities, and perhaps your knife get a little bit slippery in the handle, but those grooves that are cut in with that CO2 laser really do add some dimension to grab onto.
Yeah. So we've got the knife put together now. It's all finished. The handle's fixed like we want it before we ship it out. It's time to sharpen, right?
Well, not quite.
Okay.
First, then we got to go in with the touch marks. And so the 2025 has a special touch mark. Each one of the editions that will run with the 2025 will have a unique handle prep, material, an embellishment, and each one will be serial numbered to designate it was part of this 1-year run, with the Winkler Knives Limited logo on it to indicate that this is a very limited production number. So once they're done, each group, like I say, the initial is the olive wood with the tribal. Once those are sold, then it'll go into something else, and there'll be a limited number of the next handle material that goes, and right on and on until the end of the year, when the production will stop.
So if you want olive wood, now's the time, because whenever it's gone,
right. Yeah, because once they're gone,
else.
that's it. Yeah, and from there, actually, we go into sharpening.
Okay.
We save the sharpening for the end, and that's another video I want to do specifically on why we do our sharpening like we do. And each blade is sharpened by a specialist that has gone through multiple training sessions on sharpening both knives and axes, bigger knives, smaller knives. Everyone is unique. Every blade shape is unique, and it takes a special technique to get the edges right. So we go through the sharpening process, and from there it's ready to go into the sharpening goes through both a stock removal and a polishing stage. They're all tested, and then they go into the final inspection.
But like you said, we'll do a video on that all together sometime.
Absolutely.
That way people can really see that.
There's certain production operations we do that warrant more in-depth study, I think, for the people that have an interest in that.
Yeah. So the sheath is coming with the DeSantis sheath.
Right. It's got an all-leather DeSantis gunhide sheath. It's a pouch type sheath. It can be worn on the belt. It's set up for either a more narrow belt or a wider belt. Really comfortable, really fits that knife very well. I think it's a perfect blend for this particular design.
It really is. It's a nice package. It's a good setup the way you've got it designed.
Right, it is. And then in that final inspection, not only are the sheaths matched with the knives, the fit is checked. Every detail on the knife in the final inspection before it goes into packaging gets checked. The edge is checked again to be sure there are not any burrs have developed through handling, and so before they're packaged and ready to go out to the customers.
Well, I'm excited to see how this goes, because I'm sure it's going to go wide open. So remember, we're bringing these to Blade Show. They're going to be a Blade Show. We're going to have some on a limited basis for the drop on the 6th at 10 o'clock on our website. And then we'll have some in store itself, in actual itself. Anything else on that?
I think we're good. Look forward to it. And next video, let's see what we can come up with again.
Yeah, we'll see you at Blade Show.
All right. Thank you.